Good morning, you're watching World News here on TVP World with me, Anna Kalczyńska. Good morning. Speaking to journalists at the White House press conference on Friday evening, outgoing US President Joe Biden commented on the latest package of sanctions against Russia. Asked whether the measure was directly influenced by the upcoming presidency, Biden described it as an effort to strengthen Ukraine in its fight against Moscow invasion.
I already decided that Putin's in tough shape right now. And I think it's really important that he not have any breathing room to continue to do the god-awful things he's continuing to do. And as I said, he's got his own problems economically, significant problems economically, as well as politically at home. And so I decided to do everything I possibly could within my power and authority to give Ukraine every advantage it could have to be able to sustain support for an independent Ukraine.
In the meantime, US President-elect Donald Trump announced on Friday that the Russian President Vladimir Putin is willing to meet to discuss the future of the war in Ukraine. While ending the conflict is set to be one of the priorities of Trump's second term, the eyes of the world are focused on the two global superpowers.
1 day, 100 days, 6 months. US President-elect Donald Trump and his associates are throwing around audacious dates for ending the war in Ukraine.
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in 1 day, 24 hours. Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled.
On Friday, before gathering with Republican governors at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, Trump said that plans were underway to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump's claim that he would bring Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin together for peace talks and bring peace to Eastern Europe was repeated many times on the campaign trail.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order, and it will take me no longer than 1 day.
More recently, in January, his rhetoric has cooled. Trump said he hoped to resolve the conflict within 6 months. Keith Kellogg, his appointed special envoy to the war, has separately set a goal of 100 days. On Friday, the Kremlin confirmed the talks, but no timetable was offered. Even if an immediate date is set, the new US president may have to face a harsh reality, as Putin may have no interest in leaving Ukraine intact as a sovereign nation.
There will be peace when we achieve our goals that you've just mentioned. I'll remind you, the denazification of Ukraine, its demilitarization, its neutral status.
Or, as experts translate these words, Putin wants a change of government in Kiev in favor of a pro-Russian regime, leaving Ukraine without combat power sufficient to defend against another Russian attack and absolutely no ties with Western organizations such as NATO or the EU. Experts say that Russia may have no interest in coming to the negotiating table at the moment, as the momentum of the war is on its side.
Right now, Trump can talk all he wants, but the noises we hear in Moscow are from folks in the Kremlin. If we're not going to be stopped on the battlefield, why would we come to negotiate when they have greater interest not only in Ukraine but against the West as a whole? In the first instance, we need that strength and to give Ukraine what it needs to defend itself, to stop the Russians on their advance, which is still ongoing in Ukraine, so that we can get to the negotiating table.
The negotiations could be an opportunity for Putin to deal a major blow to the American superpower. The end of independent Ukraine will be a major loss at the very beginning of Trump's second term. How much of a factor will a personal relationship between Trump and Putin be then?
So we have a very good relationship, and I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly.
That is something you always say in public when you say, "Oh, I get along with this guy," "Oh, we have a good relationship," but it's not the big factor that people claim it is.
Questions are constantly being asked about the terms of peace, its stability and the credibility of the promises made. And while they are relevant, Ukraine is bleeding almost daily.
In an exclusive interview with TVP World, Eugeniusz Smolar, the former director of the Polish section of the BBC World Service, has shared his analysis on the future of the conflict in Ukraine. How will Western politicians and the new US administration shape policies in the upcoming period? Particularly with the backdrop of the Russian nuclear threats, how soon will Western leaders act?
People do not realize that since 1945, especially when the Soviet Union achieved parity, nuclear parity with the United States in the 70s, the policy of the United States was consistent. On one hand, deterrence, and on the other hand, negotiations, which led to some disarmament treaties agreements. Well, this is all in shambles now. So it is in the interest of the United States to act in the sort of atmosphere of predictability when nuclear policy is concerned. And we know that Putin has threatened on several occasions to use a tactical nuclear weapon. And the Western policymakers have to pay attention to it, not because he might do it, because, you know, the tactical nuclear weapon effect would be something like 3 football fields. It wouldn't be that significant, but the shock in the Western societies, particularly in Europe, but also in the United States, would be such that there would be a growing pressure of the public opinion on the policymakers to make a deal. So this is something which Putin, I have no doubt, counts on.
Colonization of Mars and whether Adolf Hitler was a communist. These were some of the topics of Elon Musk's latest X interview with Time with the leader of German far-right party, Alice Weidel. Musk's public administration for the movement is under scrutiny from the EU, which is investigating whether the interview could constitute an unfair boost.
I'm really strongly recommending that people vote for AfD.
Such recommendations tend to rarely be made by conventional interviewers. But it was far from your typical online chat.
So do you believe in God?
Well, I'm open to believing in things proportionate to the information that I receive. So
Aliceweidel leads the Alternative for Germany, a far-right, Eurosceptic and Russia-friendly party. A party now endorsed by the world's richest man, Elon Musk. The conversation between Musk and Weidel was audio only and transmitted live on Musk's platform X. The German politician also shared the videotaped version on her YouTube channel. Apart from German politics, the two discussed philosophy, religion, and the colonization of Mars.
Perhaps when we go to and visit these faraway star systems, we will discover the remains of long-dead alien civilizations.
To label Adolf Hitler as right and conservative. He was exactly the opposite. He wasn't a conservative. He wasn't a libertarian. He was a communist, socialist guy.
Such statements sparked unfavorable comments on the internet.
It's worse than any discussion between two drunks in your local bar. Hitler was a communist, but he murdered the communists. Weidel grovels before the tech billionaire, asks about the colonization of Mars. She almost kneeled. Embarrassing.
Elon Musk has recently expressed his support for multiple far-right movements in Europe.
It is the combination of Mr. Musk being the richest person in the world, his new position in the incoming US administration, and obviously, last but not least, his ownership of X, which gives him this significant influence over political discourse and public opinion.
Experts believe the Trump administration not only aligns ideologically with the far right, but also stands to gain from its rise.
Adding more populists into the governments or into the parliaments of these countries may in the end actually be considered to be a positive outcome for the future negotiations between the US and EU if they ever happen.
The European Commission has delegated some 150 experts to review the Musk-Weidel chat and determine whether it amounts to providing an unfair boost to the German far right.
The issue at hand is whether there is unfair amplification of certain content. There is never an issue or problem with the conducting of any interview. Freedom of expression is a fundamental right in the European Union.
According to polls, the Alternative for Germany is on track to becoming Germany's second largest political party, narrowly trailing the center-right Christian Democratic Union.
NATO's standing maritime group is to set off from its base in German port of Kiel for the Baltic Sea to strengthen security. "We are needed elsewhere," said the new commander Eric Nock at the Kiel naval base. Recent tensions in the Baltics have prompted NATO to refocus its maritime strategy. NATO is increasing its presence in the eastern Baltic Sea to monitor critical underwater infrastructure. Baltic shipping routes are of strategic importance for NATO's security and economy. Safeguarding communication cables and shipping has gained further importance following several suspected sabotage incidents. The Dutch Luimus and German minesweeper Datteln are part of the group, with additional vessels joining soon. The European Commissioner for EU Enlargement says candidate countries should be able to begin so-called Chapter 1 talks around the free movement of goods during Poland's presidency of the European Council. Marta Kos spoke after meeting with Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski. The two expressed hope that the pace of the work of the accession process would accelerate under Poland's presidency.
EU Enlargement Commissioner Marta Kos is in Warsaw for talks with Radosław Sikorski, Poland's foreign minister. Kos, in a press conference, announced that during Poland's presidency of the European Council, EU candidate countries, including Ukraine and Moldova, if they fulfilled the criteria set down by the European Union, would be ready for the opening of first chapter talks on EU membership. Let's hear what she had to say.
Ukraine has a place in the European Union, and the European Commission will support Ukraine in every possible way to reach this goal. As you have mentioned before, Mr. Minister, applying for a membership is a choice, and it comes with commitments and comes with obligations. And my task is to accompany those candidate countries on the way into the EU.
Kos was also asked about the Law and Justice Party candidate Karol Nawrocki's comment that Ukraine is not ready for NATO or EU membership. Kos said that she saw Ukraine has a place in the European Union, while Radosław Sikorski said that we need politicians with more imagination. This is John Todd for TVP World.
Firefighters across the state of California are scrambling to contain the wildfire raging in a Pacific Palisades area in Los Angeles. Dubbed the worst in the city's history, the blaze has claimed 11 lives so far and uprooted thousands more after countless residences burned to ash.
I came for some release because I lost everything. My house burnt down and I lost everything. I didn't have time to take anything but clothes on my back and a couple outfits and some shoes. And I'm looking for my pets. I don't know what happened to my dogs.
This looks like the apocalypse, to be honest with you. It just doesn't feel like the normal things that happen in your life. This is something very unusual about what's going on, in my humble opinion, right now.
There's nothing that no one could do. They were just stretched too thin. You know, by the time firefighters from different counties got here, it was just too late for us, you know. So I don't hold any grudges. I just, just wish it could have been different.
It's crazy. It's shocking. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's hard to even speak about it. I mean, driving through, you've seen all the videos on social media. It's hard for me to even go on my phone because I'm just like, I don't want to see anything. It just makes me so sad. But then you come through here and you see it all, and it's like, it is a nightmare. This is just, this isn't real. You never think it's going to happen to you, and then it does.
And that's all we've prepared for you in this edition of World News, but please stay tuned to TVP World as we are coming with World Talk very soon.